I was disfigured saving my boyfriend from a lab fire. After that, he finally acknowledged our relationship publicly and proposed to me. I thought we would be each other's rock, loving each other for a lifetime, but on our 10th wedding anniversary, he threw away my life-saving medication. Only on my deathbed did I realize he had never loved me. On the 7th day after my death, he married his white moonlight, and my own daughter even gave them her blessing. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. This time, I did not rush into the burning building to save my boyfriend. I chose to marry the senior who had always admired me. Yeah, help me. I think I heard Lu Yang's distorted voice. It seemed like he was calling for my help. Senior Lu Yang is still inside. Hurry and save him. Hao Mingming cried out anxiously, supported by her classmates. Without a second thought, I was about to rush in when a sudden dizziness washed over me. Memories from my past life flooded my mind all at once. I had been reborn in my past life. I rushed into the burning building without a second thought, rescuing Lu Yang at the cost of my own disfigurement. After that, Lu Yang proposed to me in front of everyone. I thought he pitied me, was grateful to me, and loved me. It never occurred to me that he was just trapped by social obligation and public opinion. I was not only his savior, but also the daughter of his former benefactor. The weight of his debt to my family, combined with my pregnancy, left him with no choice but to marry me. Lu Yang was a financially disadvantaged student my parents sponsored. I poured all my passion into him, even tolerating him keeping our relationship a secret. Over the years, I've lost count of how many arguments I've had with my parents just to be with him. They believed Lu Yang only cared about money and had no genuine feelings for me. In my past life, it wasn't until I was at death's door that I realized my parents were right. Looking back, I spent a fortune on Lu Yang, just like a silent benefactor. Before the fire, Lu Yang was about to start his direct PhD program, and I had outlived my usefulness. That was his perfect chance to ditch me and be with his one true love. But he never expected that I'd save her, forcing him to marry me instead and reluctantly give up his beloved. I suppose that's when he started to utterly despise me. Yeah, get back. What are you standing there for? My best friend's frantic voice snapped me back to reality. Hearing the chaotic noise around me and Lu Yang's shouts from the fire, I took several steps back and melted into the crowd. Someone save Senior Lu Yang. Hurry. Hao Mingming's accusatory tone made me frown deeply. She is Lu Yang's cherished junior, the one who's always been his ideal. Lately, she and Lu Yang have been spending a lot of time together. The two of them are always holed up alone in the lab during everyone's lunch break, doing who knows what. In my past life, I secretly seethed with jealousy over this but never dared to confront them openly. In my relationship with Lu Yang, I was the one who pursued him and put in all the effort. Even though I was his girlfriend, he never made our relationship public, always using the excuse of wanting to keep a low profile. We dated in secret for 3 years. Only my closest friends and a handful of others knew about it. Lu Yang was the star of our chemistry department. He's 3 years older than me, handsome and talented, the dream guy for many younger students. As for me, aside from my family background, I'm pretty ordinary. The fire's so intense, who would dare go in there? Why aren't you going in? It was as if she had just escaped from a lab. Some classmates began to resent Hao Mingming's emotional blackmail. Hao Mingming's face fell, and she stopped shouting. 10 minutes later, Lu Yang was rescued by the firefighters who had arrived on the scene. He was wailing on the stretcher, clutching his cheek, while I watched him silently from the crowd. I wondered, if I hadn't interfered in this life, would he still have had it as easy as he did in his last one? Lu Yang's burns were quite severe. He lay in the hospital for 3 days before regaining consciousness. As soon as I heard he had woken up, I rushed straight to the hospital. Oh my God, my face! I hadn't even entered the ward before I heard his screams. Lu Yang's face was completely wrapped in bandages. His arms had some burns too, but his face was the worst. Just like in my past life, he couldn't accept his disfigured self when he woke up. No, it can't be. How could this happen? Lu Yang felt his face through the bandages, muttering to himself, "Senior, don't touch it. It's okay. The doctor said plastic surgery can fix it later," I said, feigning a look of urgency. Lu Yeah, you didn't come in to save me. Why wasn't it you who got disfigured? Seeing my face, Lu Yang became even more agitated. He grabbed my wrist and roared in disbelief. "It should have been you who was disfigured. I only had minor injuries." At that moment, I was certain he had also been reborn, though he must have returned after the fire. Justice has been served. Lu Yang insisted that he was so badly injured because of me. He was utterly incredulous and refused to accept reality. All the other friends who came to visit Lu Yang were completely astonished. "Senior, what's wrong?" Lu Yang let go of Lu Yeah. "Now, has he lost his mind? What does this have to do with Yeah?" With my friend's help, I finally managed To wrench my hand free from Lu Yang's grip. Senior, I'm so sorry, the fire was too intense, I couldn't get in to save you. I covered my eyes and said apologetically. Lu Yang glared at me and shouted in rebuke. I called out to you for help, I was only a few steps from the door, if you had just reached out. Lu Yang, that's not fair, classmate Lu is a person too, even firefighters wouldn't rush into a lab full of chemicals. It could have exploded at any moment. My best friend stepped up and stood up. For me, we understand you're upset about the disfigurement, but can you at least be reasonable? Exactly, don't try to guilt trip her. Lu Yaya isn't your mother. Lu Yang flushed with embarrassment at their words. 3. Aren't you Senior? Lu Yang's girlfriend Hao Mengmeng walked in, holding a bouquet of flowers. She had clearly overheard the conversation in the ward and suddenly interjected with this question. Yes, you're my girlfriend, how can you just stand by and watch your own boyfriend in danger? Without lifting a finger, is your love for me really that shallow? Lu Yang's words were rather ridiculous. In my past life, I loved him with all my heart. I helped him compile experimental data and spent my own money to buy him all sorts of luxury goods. I asked him many times to make our relationship public, but he always had an excuse to refuse. My friends have tried to talk me out of my one-sided devotion countless times, and my parents have scolded me for it just as often, but I paid no mind to any of it. I savored every bit of the bittersweetness. He's the student council president, he was worried it would affect his votes, afraid his admirers would come after me. Every single excuse was wrapped up as if it were for my own good, but in reality, it was all just because he was afraid his beloved Hao Mengmeng would misunderstand. Everything was for his own benefit, and now, with his handsome face ruined, facing school discipline, and having to pay for the lab equipment he destroyed, he suddenly claims I'm his girlfriend. Ha, how pathetic. But you already broke up with me, I mumbled hesitantly. For a moment, the hospital room fell completely silent. Well, I admit I've been neglecting you a lot lately, but, yeah, my feelings for you are real. You won't be put off by my face, will you? Lu Yang held my hand, glanced at my stomach, and said with deep emotion, if it were the hopelessly lovesick me from my past life, I would have agreed instantly, swearing never to leave his side. But I was reborn. I didn't answer, choosing instead to change the subject. Senior, what were you and Hao Mengmeng doing in the lab back then? You two are always eating together, going to the library. Instantly, everyone's attention shifted back to Lu Yang and Hao Mengmeng. We're from the same hometown, he's my senior and is supervising my graduation project. Hao Mengmeng glanced cautiously at Lu Yang before proclaiming loudly to all the classmates around them. Yeah, please don't misunderstand, there's nothing going on between us, let's get back together, I want to make you happy. When the fire reached me in my past life, Lu Yang let go of my hand. He ran off faster than a rabbit. If he had pulled me away back then, I wouldn't have been injured so severely. I only found out later that Lu Yang and Hao Mengmeng weren't actually conducting an experiment in the lab. The fire was caused by Lu Yang mixing up the reagents by accident while they were flirting. What's even more interesting is that Hao Mengmeng abandoned Lu Yang, who had twisted his ankle and fallen, and ran out ahead of him afterwards. Lu Yang even let bygones be bygones and made up with her, and I was the unluckiest fool of all. I held back my anger and looked at Lu Yang with a feigned, pitiful expression, saying nothing. Then he ran out without looking back. I need to go to the hospital. After his rebirth, Lu Yang clearly knew I was already pregnant 2 months ago, on Lu Yang's birthday. I booked a presidential suite at a 5-star hotel to celebrate for him. I gave him the Air Jordans he'd been dreaming of, and even sent him a birthday red envelope of 66 yuan. Lu Yang was in a bad mood that day. He drank a lot, and we crossed a line. I only found out later that Hao Mengmeng had discovered I was his official girlfriend, and she wanted Lu Yang to break up with me. But Lu Yang hesitated, reluctant to agree right away because of the financial support I was providing him. Hao Mengmeng got into an argument with him. After we slept together, Lu Yang gave me the cold shoulder. For days he kept avoiding me. He'd still accept gifts, but wouldn't reply to my caring messages on WeChat. In the end, he blocked me and broke up with me unilaterally. It wasn't until I was disfigured in the fire and discovered to be pregnant at the hospital that he was forced to propose to me. In this life, I don't want this child. She inherited Lu Yang's selfish nature. From a young age, she was ashamed of my disfigured appearance, feeling I embarrassed her. She believes I'm not good enough for Lu Yang, and that my very existence is an obstacle to her father's pursuit of happiness. I want to cut all ties with Lu Yang. I don't even want this ungrateful daughter anymore. But the doctor's words hit me hard. For there are some issues with your health, so it's unlikely you'll be able to conceive easily. If you go through with this abortion, it could affect your future chances. Please go home and think it over carefully. I want to terminate this pregnancy, but I also want to be a mother someday. Yeah, I love you. Even though my face is scarred, my love for you is complete and unreserved. I've been a bit distant lately because of my graduation project. Can you forgive me? I want to make it up to you with a surprise. I was already feeling down, and then Lu Yang had to go and message me on WeChat. I don't get it. Wasn't he dead set on being with Hao Meng? Why won't he just leave me alone? His next WeChat message gave me the answer. Yeah, the school is demanding compensation and disciplinary action against me. Can you lend me some money? I'll pay you back. Both Lu Yang and Hao Meng came from impoverished families in my past life. I was the one who paid the school compensation for Lu Yang and pulled strings to get his punishment waived. I did so much for him. He took my kindness for granted, and in the end, he betrayed and killed me for his own selfish gain. I can't accept this. At that moment, Gusen suddenly ran up to me, out of breath. Yeah, I heard the lab caught fire. Are you okay? I went over there but didn't see you. Gusen is my senior at school, and we've been childhood sweethearts who grew up together. Our parents are old family friends, and we were even betrothed to each other as children. But in my past life, I was utterly obsessed with Lu Yang, as if under a spell, throwing tantrums and making extreme threats until my parents called off the engagement. I remember how he quietly helped me find a hospital for reconstructive surgery and, as my senior, encouraged me to go abroad for a change of scenery. After my death, he assaulted Lu Yang at the wedding. He never married or had children in his entire life. I finally understood. This was true sincerity. After a moment of silence, I spoke up with trepidation. Brother Sen, if I said I wanted you to marry me, would you still be willing? Gusen didn't answer right away. I was asking too much of him, and I was too embarrassed to add that it was just a marriage of convenience. Just as I was trying to think of a way to dispel the awkwardness, Gusen pulled me into a hug, his face beaming with joy. Great, he didn't ask for a reason. I'm pregnant. The doctor advised against an abortion, but I don't want her. I covered my face in shame and wept. Gusen knew perfectly well who the child's father was, yet he still responded to me with an embrace. He said he didn't mind, that he respected all my decisions, and that he would treat this child as his own. In that moment, I felt I was unworthy of his love. Then, a surge of immense gratitude welled up inside me, and I resolved that I must repay him. Gusen couldn't wait to drag me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I was completely bewildered the whole way. I actually wanted to tell him it was a marriage of convenience, but in the end, I couldn't bring myself to say it, and just like that, we used our ID cards to get our marriage certificate. The wedding rings were something Gusen provided a few days later. Gusen also promised to give me a grand proposal, although our decision to get married caught both sets of parents off guard. They were ultimately happy for us because I was pregnant before marriage. Gusen, out of consideration for my family's reputation, did not announce it publicly for the time being. When I returned to school, Lu Yang, who had just been discharged from the hospital, suddenly gave me a huge surprise. 5. He arranged red roses into a heart shape on the open ground outside my dormitory. He stood in the center, playing the guitar, and proposed to me with deep affection. A circle of classmates gathered around, cheering, marry him, yeah, marry me. Lu Yan didn't even prepare a diamond ring. The proposal was downright cheap, yet he was utterly confident I would say yes, and if it were the me from my past life, he'd be right. I probably would have been moved to tears, but I'm already married, you know. I extended the ring finger of my left hand, beaming with a radiant smile. A sparkling diamond ring was on it. All sound vanished in an instant. Lu Yang stared at me in shock. Impossible. You said you loved me more than anything, you'd have died for me. That was then, I said calmly. Come on, yeah, don't make a scene, you're carrying my child. I promise I'll be a good husband and a good father. Our daughter is so smart. And Brother Sun was willing to be labeled a cuckold to keep my pregnancy a secret from outsiders, and he didn't even tell your parents. But Lu Yang, just to get me to marry him, exposed my secret in front of everyone. He practically wanted the whole world to know I was a girl with loose morals. The difference is night and day. Don't you dare talk nonsense. I shoved Lu Yang away in a rage. My parents cared most about saving face. In my past life, the news of my pregnancy and the accident that disfigured me got out just like that. I've made my parents lose face in front of our relatives and friends. Yeah, I know you resent me for never publicly acknowledging you as my girlfriend. I'm trying to make it right now, but the child is innocent. We need to give her a home. Lu Yang continued, talking to himself. The bandages on his face quivered as he spoke, making me sick. Liang Yaya is pregnant. The senior is really stepping up. She should marry him. Could it be that Liang Yaya is put off by his disfigurement? That's so sad for him. People around us were whispering, each one speaking up for Lu Yang, as if his proposal was some great honor bestowed upon me. People who make flippant comments without knowing the facts are the most detestable. The child isn't yours. I'm married, I tell you again, I retorted loudly. Yeah, stop lying. How could the child not be mine? That night at the Four Seasons Hotel, don't tell me you have another man. I can't believe it. In my eyes, you'll always be the purest, most wonderful. Lu Yang's words made me sick. For the first time, I saw his true, shameless face in my past life. I begged and pleaded, my parents tried every persuasion, and only after weighing the pros and cons did he agree to marry me in this life. He's still scheming against me, even going so far as to slander my reputation in public. Lu Yang grabbed my arm, and I couldn't break free. Everyone was staring at me, and their gazes made me want to run away. 6 Yaya is my wife. Gusen suddenly appeared behind me. He pulled me close, declaring his claim to everyone. Yaya is carrying my child. We were betrothed since childhood. She broke up with Lu Yang 2 months ago. Stay away from my wife. Gusen was dressed in a bespoke suit, a wedding band also adorning his left hand. He was tall, handsome, mature, steady, and possessed an extraordinary presence, in no way inferior to Lu Yang before his disfigurement. It's Senior Gusen. Oh my, he's so handsome. So he's Liang Yaya's husband, married so young. His fierce, protective words on my behalf gave me a lot more confidence. I took out my phone and played the breakup voice message Lu Yang had sent me back then. Let's break up. Liang Yaya, you're always using money to humiliate me and trample on my self-respect. I never loved you. I love Hao Meng Meng. Please stop pestering me. After the voice message finished playing, everyone looked at Lu Yang. Yaya's parents had been funding Lu Yang's education since he was a child, and Yaya had always been helping him in secret. So, in Lu Yang's eyes, all that helped was just trampling on his dignity. The more Gusen spoke, the more Lu Yang's face darkened from head to toe. Every piece of clothing and his shoes are luxury brands I bought for him. The phone and computer he uses are the latest models, which his paltry scholarship could never afford. Liang Yaya, you betrayed me. Lu Yang finally dropped his hypocritical mask and said to me through gritted teeth, you never even acknowledged our relationship, so how can you talk about betrayal? Besides, you and Hao Meng Meng aren't exactly innocent either. After saying that, I took Gusen's hand and left. Lu Yang's disastrous marriage proposal quickly spread across the campus network. I used to think Lu Yang was handsome, but now I realize he's nowhere near as impressive as Senior Gusen, especially when it comes to his aura and presence. The Gu Group is a real powerhouse in City A, and I hear the Liang family is no slouch either. Sounds like a perfect match. Then I heard Lu Yang's hometown is a poverty-stricken county, and his family is quite poor. Who's Hao Meng Meng, the other woman? Many people began to mock Lu Yang for reaching for what was beyond his grasp, bringing shame upon himself. This time, I became the swan. Unlike in my previous life, after I was disfigured, everyone felt sorry for Lu Yang. Every time they saw me, they would shake their heads as if I were a toad. Lu Yang finally got a taste of the pain I once felt. He's been desperately trying to reach me, but it's too late. He's blocked. While I was at home recovering, rumors began spreading online about me having messy relationships with men. I was portrayed as a promiscuous, loose woman with no sense of propriety. I became the protagonist in countless sleazy stories. There were even stories about how I used my family's influence to coerce a hard-working, top-performing senior into being my secret lover. That poor senior, whom I relentlessly showered with money, was Lu Yang. Uninformed keyboard warriors called me a heartless, spoiled bitch. What completely broke me was that some explicit photos of me in bed were also leaked. My hands were trembling when I saw it. It was a photo of me and Lu Yang at the hotel after our chaotic night. I never imagined he would take nude photos of me while I was sound asleep. He had been scheming against me from the very beginning, planning to use those nude photos to blackmail me one last time. Unfortunately, these photos never got to be used because of an accident in my previous life. That's when I received a call from an unknown number. Liang Yaya, if you don't want to keep embarrassing yourself, give me $1 million, otherwise, you wouldn't want your parents and Gusen to see this, would you? I screamed, and through my phone I recognized that voice as Lu Yang's. He still kept a lot of photos I never wanted to see. I can't believe Lu Yang would stoop so low for money. I knelt on the ground, weeping helplessly. It seems my depression has followed me from my past life. In my past life, I rarely went out because of the scar on my face. Although my parents and Gusen tried many ways to take me for surgical repair, I could never return to how I was before. Later, as Lu Yang's status rose and my parents passed away one after another, I became less and less confident. I was subjected to long-term emotional manipulation by Lu Yang. My mental state deteriorated, and I developed severe depression in the years before I was killed. I had no one to confide in. Everyone called me a freak. Even my own daughter called me an ugly monster to my face. Thinking of this, I pounded my stomach with my fists, wishing she would just disappear. 7 Yeah, don't be scared, it's okay, I'll have someone take these down right away. Gusen kicked the door open, grabbed my arm, and whispered words of comfort. Brother Sen, I don't want her, I'm not a monster. Lu Yang, I touched my own face and cried out in despair. You're the most beautiful. Yeah, everyone adores you. If you don't want the baby, we can. Don't be afraid, leave it to me. I fainted. When I came to, I learned I had miscarried. The baby couldn't be saved, although the doctor regretfully said I might have a very hard time getting pregnant again. But in this moment, I felt free. I didn't feel the slightest bit of reluctance, only that the heavy weight on my heart was gone. From now on, Lu Yang and I are finished. My parents don't know the truth. They think it's Gusen's child, and they're worried about my health and my future. Yeah, you're still young. You and Asen have your whole lives ahead of you. There will be other chances to have a child. Brother Sen, let's get a divorce. I can't hold you back any longer. Before I could finish speaking, Gusen cut me off. Yeah, I love you. You're my wife. If we can't have children, then we can't. We'll adopt in the future. Gusen stepped in to reassure my parents on my behalf, promising to make me happy and keep me joyful forever. Lu Yang had said the same thing to my parents in my past life. The only difference was that one meant it sincerely, while the other was full of deceit. Gusen promised he would definitely give me a proper resolution. In less than a day, all the rumors and photos about me online vanished. Gusen reported it to the police and had the company's legal department issue a statement. He's going to sue everyone who spread the rumors and posted the photos. He'll make them all pay. To my surprise, the person who posted the original rumor about me was Hao Mengmeng. The IP address shown in the posted photo was also hers. I never expected her and Lu Yang to team up and scheme against me. After all, from my impression of her in my past life, she and Lu Yang were the same kind of person, utter egoists. After Lu Yang broke up with her, she decisively married someone else. Without any hesitation, she married and divorced 3 times, each time leveraging marriage to climb the social ladder. It said she received a substantial inheritance from an elderly foreigner in her last divorce. He returned to the country just before Lu Yang and I celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary, and he and Lu Yang have been carrying on their on-again, off-again affair. They never truly cut ties over those 10 years. Lu Yang probably loved her more. After all, he was willing to harm me to be with her. Unfortunately for her, she has now crossed my husband. Gusen, Hao Mengmeng, and Lu Yang were taken away by the police in front of everyone at the school. Lu Yang was detained, fined, and forced to issue a public apology to me on social media. Lu Yang took all the blame upon himself. His direct PhD admission spot was revoked, and a short video of him kneeling and weeping in public, begging the university president for leniency, spread widely online. In the end, he was publicly censured by the university. Lu Yang lost all dignity and standing, and even saw his future prospects completely ruined. To pay off his debts, he recklessly turned to a loan shark. I felt nothing about it. He brought it all on himself. Unfortunately, Hao Mengmeng faced no legal consequences. Not long after, she and Lu Yang even made their relationship official on social media. Despite heavy beautification, Lu Yang's face still looked ferocious, barely failing to scare children. His exaggerated smile led many to mock that the ugly are full of drama. Meanwhile, Hao Mengmeng wore a smug, youthful scowl. Those unaware of the truth might think she was being forced. Lu Yang wrote a lengthy post, hitting the character limit on his social media feed, to express his love for Hao Mengmeng. It recounted the story of how they met and fell in love. It was so nauseating I couldn't eat for 3 days. Instead of offering congratulations, many netizens mocked them, saying that public displays of affection often lead to a quick breakup. Lu Yang's series of cringe-worthy moves and self-inflicted humiliations completely stripped him of his former halo and influence, turning the once popular campus heartthrob into a universally disliked has-been. But I have no energy left to deal with them. After a period of recuperation, I need to start focusing on my graduation thesis. 8. My thesis advisor is a male associate professor in his 40s. He seems to look down on me, the recent center of the campus scandal. He made me revise my thesis over and over, never offering any useful advice, just constantly mocking me. Liang Yaya, do you even want to graduate? You think you can hand in this subpar, grade school level paper and fool me? Did you buy your way into this university? Rewrite it. Are you out of your mind, you useless waste of space? I'll make sure you never get your degree. When I realized his critiques were completely illogical, factually wrong, and that his feedback contradicted his earlier advice, it was all just incoherent nonsense, I deleted the 12th draft of my thesis revisions. I could feel his malice, even though I had no history or grudge against him whatsoever. After Goosen got the full story, he patted me on the back with a smile to calm me down. What's your supervisor's name? Let me see if I can ask someone to take him out for a meal and put in a good word for you. After all, my wife is so lovely and kind-hearted. How could he bear to scold you? Goosen is very emotionally stable. He's incredibly patient with me, always tolerating my little tantrums and truly spoiling me like a princess. It's not like my past life, where I was the only one who tolerated Liu Yang and bore the brunt of his negative emotions after I lost my temper. I never sent my graduation thesis to my supervisor again. He stopped bothering with me altogether, as if he genuinely wanted me to fail and not get my degree. I've come to terms with it. Worst case, I'll just find a new supervisor and graduate later. While I was at school packing my things, I ran into Liu Yang in the stairwell, whom I hadn't seen in ages. He had a mask on his face and a hat pulled low, bundled up tightly as if afraid of being recognized. I'd been with him for over a decade. I'd recognize him even if he were reduced to ashes. He was gripping Hao Mingming's wrist, interrogating her. Hao Mingming, are you having an affair with that old man Li Gang? You never come back to the apartment. Are you sleeping with him? There was a lot to unpack in Liu Yang's words. I hid in the corner, listening quietly. I was taken aback for a moment when I heard the name Li Gang. Isn't that my advisor's name? I heard he's already married and has 2 children. His wife is a teacher in another faculty and is 3 years older than him. The rumor around campus is that he only made associate professor thanks to his wife's connections. Are you insane? Do you still think you're the handsome top student heartthrob you used to be? Who I sleep with is none of your business. And it would never be a hideous toad like you. Do you have any idea how sick I feel every time I see your face? It makes me want to puke. Hao Mingming's shrill voice grated on my eardrums. In my past life, after I was disfigured, Liu Yang mocked me the same way. He gave me the silent treatment, and when I couldn't take it anymore and confronted him, he even said that looking at my face made him lose his appetite and that the sight of me disgusted him. Being despised by the man I loved left my heart aching unbearably. Now, Liu Yang has also been mocked for his appearance by the one he loves. Truly, what goes around comes around. Liu Yang couldn't take it anymore and slapped Hao Mingming twice across the face. You bitch, what haven't I done for you? I helped you with your experiments, bought you clothes and makeup. I never even cared for Liang Yaya this much. I got my face disfigured trying to save you. I even took the fall for you, and now I can't even find a job, and you're still not satisfied. You're nothing but a bitch, a whore. 9. Hao Mingming was knocked to the ground. Defiantly, she sprang up and lunged at Liu Yang, clawing at his face while hurling insults. If you're so bitter, go find Liang Yaya, see if she still wants an ugly bastard like you. How dare you hit me? Liu Yang's mask was torn off, revealing a horrifying, scar-riddled face. In a daze, our eyes met. Yeah, I rushed out of the stairwell and called for the teachers and classmates to break up the fight. Now I know why Li Gang is always picking on me. In her past life, Hao Mingming's first marriage was to a university professor. I'm guessing it must have been Li Gang. In the afternoon, I went to see Li Gang with my graduation thesis. Before I even entered the office, I could hear Hao Mingming's coquettish voice. Professor, my face, sob, humph. I'll have a word with Mr. Wang. Liu Yang is lucky to even graduate this time. I didn't knock. I just pushed the door open. In an instant, I saw Hao Mingming and Li Gang's bodies entwined. The two of them quickly separated upon seeing me. Liang Yaya, who said you could just barge in without knocking? Li Gang glared at me, and with a guilty conscience, he pointed at my face and berated me for a full minute. Hao Mingming watched the drama unfold from the sidelines. My suspicion was confirmed, which explains why Li Gang has been targeting me so much lately. Student Hao Mingming. Professor Li isn't even your advisor. What are you doing here? I feigned confusion. Professor Li is a relative of my dad's friend. What's it to you if I'm here to see him? Mingming, send my regards to your father for me. Li Gang spoke to Hao Mingming so gently it gave me the creeps. Hao Mingming shot me a dirty look and left with her nose in the air. What is this garbage? Do it again. Li Gang gave my graduation thesis a cursory flip through, less than 10 seconds, and then tossed it at my feet. I silently picked it up and left as well. Afterwards, I vented to Goosen about Li Gang and Hao Mingming. It's obvious Hao Mingming has it in for me and deliberately got Li Gang to mess with me. Brother Sen, the graduation defense is coming up soon. If I try to switch advisors now, it'll be too late. I'll probably have to delay my graduation, Professor Lee definitely won't let me pass, especially with Hao Ming and him. Oh, that balding social climber Lee Gang, I know his wife, I'll help you figure something out. I can't believe he has so little professional ethics. As for Hao Ming, let her have her little moment in the sun for now. Gu Sen's eyes turned sharp at the mention of Hao Ming's name. He hadn't forgotten how Hao Ming and Lu Yang had dealt with me in the blink of an eye. The day of the thesis defense arrived. Although Hao Ming and I had different advisors, we were defending our theses together. She walked ahead of me, shooting me a defiant look just before stepping onto the stage. Dressed in a sharp, elegant outfit, she strode confidently up to the podium just as she opened her presentation and was about to begin her explanation. An intimate video of Hao Ming and Li Gang suddenly began playing on the large screen. The location in the video is clearly Li Gang's private office. Professor Lee, I've missed you, you little minx. Weren't you satisfied enough yesterday? 10. A loud murmur rippled through the audience. The lecture hall was now filled not only with other faculty members, but also the dean of the college and other university officials. Of course, there were also many of our junior classmates who had come to watch the thesis defense. No, that's not me. Hao Ming frantically tried to shut down the computer, but it seemed to have frozen, and the screen continued to play the inappropriate video. Li Gang rushed onto the stage in a panic, scrambling to find the power cord to unplug it. He cursed while searching. This is slander. It's AI generated. Who's behind this prank? I'm calling the police. In his frantic state, his wig fell off, revealing his receding hairline. A huge wave of laughter erupted from the audience. Everyone was watching him and Hao Ming become the laughingstock. Liang Yaya, was this your doing? Hao Ming pointed at me, flustered and furious. As she made her accusation, I threw my hands up in a gesture of innocence. It was you. Just as Hao Ming, gnashing her teeth, was about to charge at me, a middle-aged woman in a floral dress rushed forward. She grabbed Hao Ming by the hair and began to shriek, "You bitch, how dare you seduce my husband?" Someone recognized her as Li Gang's wife. Hao Ming's face was covered in bloody scratches, and several clumps of her hair had been torn out. She was clearly being overpowered and beaten, crying out for help in agony. "Mr. Lee, help me." When Li Gang tried to intervene, his wife grew even more furious. She was a large, powerful woman, and she aimed a swift kick straight at Li Gang's groin. The school administrators, furious at the unfolding farce, immediately called for security. The scene descended into utter chaos in an instant. Amidst the chaotic crowd, I thought I caught a glimpse of Lu Yang. He should have already graduated and left the campus, yet at that moment, dressed all in black, he moved against the flow of the crowd and walked to the front. Then, a shout came from up ahead. "Ah, murder." I had already retreated to the doorway and saw Hao Ming collapse in the distance. Gu Sen covered my eyes with his hand and led me away from the scene. Before I closed my eyes, I thought I saw Lu Yang holding a fruit knife, its blade dripping with blood. The thesis defense was abruptly halted. All the way as I left the campus, police cars and ambulances were screaming past. Hao Ming and Li Gang were admitted to the hospital. Later, I heard about their fate from Gu Sen. Hao Ming was stabbed twice, both wounds piercing her uterus. Her life was saved, but she can never have children. She was expelled from school. Just like Li Gang, Lu Yang was sent to prison for attempted murder, and his degree was revoked. All the efforts of his early life came to nothing. As for my thesis defense, to placate the remaining students, the school simply assigned us a different professor. I received my diploma and degree certificate without a hitch. I went to see Lu Yang once before going abroad. "Are you a reincarnated soul?" I asked him point blank. He stared at me in shock. "Me, yeah." The look in his eyes was complicated, hatred, regret, or something else. I wasn't interested. "Seems like you got what you deserved. Reflect on your sins in there." I smiled, stood up, and walked away. I don't want to know why Lu Yang killed Hao Ming in public, or what his psychological journey was. It's just the same old sordid business. All I know is that everything has been settled. Gu Sen and I went abroad for convalescence. It said there's a hospital there that can cure my condition. 3 years later, I was pregnant. I rested my hand on my belly and nestled happily into Gu Sen's arms. I am grateful to heaven for granting me a second chance at life, which led me to find true happiness. The end. Story 2. After my mother was in a car accident, she urgently needed 800,000 yuan for surgery. I begged my fiancé to pay for my mother's treatment, but he refused on the spot. "We're not even married yet and you're already trying to get money from me. Who do you think you are?" My fiancé then turned around and used that 800,000 yuan to buy a bag for his childhood sweetheart who had just returned from abroad. Everyone thought I was heartbroken and devastated, but I just let out a scornful laugh. After all, it was his mother who got into the car accident and it was his mother lying in the hospital, waiting for an amputation, what's that got to do with me? Xiaoyu, you have to get Haochen to send the money, Mom. Mom doesn't have much time left. The frail voice snapped me out of my tangled thoughts and back to reality. I looked at the woman lying on the bed and sneered inwardly. Xiao Jun, you damned old hag. I pretended not to notice Xiao Jun's broken arm and pressed directly on her wound. Mom, hang in there. I'm calling Haochen right now. Then, a sharp scream rang out in the room. I stepped out of the hospital room and bumped right into the doctor. Ms. Ling, your mother needs surgery as soon as possible. She has multiple comminuted fractures throughout her body. If we don't operate promptly, there's a risk of amputation. That would be letting her off easy. Doctor, I'll contact her son right away. I really don't have the money. Seeing my pitiful state, the doctor sighed and walked into the ward. I sat in the hallway, picked up my phone, and dialed that familiar number. Ring. After a long while, an impatient voice sounded in my ear. Hey, spit it out. What do you want, Haochen? Mom's been in a car accident. It's really bad. Sob, can you wire me 800,000. The doctor says she needs surgery immediately. The voice on the other end of the line was chaotic and noisy, as if they were in a shopping mall. We're not even married and you're already trying to get money from me. Who do you think you are? I fell silent on the phone. Haochen, is that your wife? Oh dear, do you think she'll be upset that you're out with me? Sis, I just flew in yesterday. Mom and Dad were too busy to come. So Haochen is just picking me up. Please don't be mad. Then, Li Haochen said gently, don't pay her any mind. Didn't you love that Hermes crocodile bag? Come on, let's go buy it. Really, you're the best. Mwah. A heavy silence fell on the other end of the line. Li Haochen hung up the phone. I kept calling, and he hung up. I called again, and he hung up again. I called nonstop, and got blocked. Alright then, I dusted myself off and went back to the hospital room. Xiaoqiu was groaning in pain, completely out of it. Mom, Haochen isn't answering my calls. What should I do? To match the miserable scene, I pinched my thigh until it bruised, finally managing to squeeze out 2 streams of tears, but Xiaoqiu couldn't hear me anymore. Another 2 hours passed. The doctor asked me anxiously, where are her family members? Can they come or not? I was crying, my face a mess, and said plaintively, Doctor, I can't get through to my fiancé, I can't reach him, and I have no money on me. This. Finally, after a consultation between the surgical and orthopedic doctors, they decided to use the green channel, fast track. However, because Xiao Jun's injury had been left for far too long, there was no choice but to amputate both legs. I kept vigil at the hospital for 3 days and 2 nights. Li Haochen finally showed up. I've been thinking about it for the past 2 days. I was just too young and naive. How could I have cut ties with my own mother for a man like him? Mom looked down on their family, nouveau riche with no class. She tried to talk me out of getting engaged to Li Haochen. We were so in love back then. At our engagement party, Li Haochen made a solemn vow to the heavens. He swore he would love me for the rest of his life. It wasn't until my wealthy father passed away from a heart attack, their family's attitude towards me took a nosedive. Xiao Juan knew that Li Haochen and Jiang Shishir had been carrying on their affair, and she even thought her son was quite the player. Meanwhile, I was kept completely in the dark, blissfully and eagerly planning our wedding. The very day before Xiao Jun got into the car accident, I received a video from my best friend. The sight of Li Haochen and Jiang Shishir locked in a deep, passionate kiss at the bar finally shattered my rose-tinted glasses. So, on the day of the accident, I deliberately used vague language. If Li Haochen transferred the money without a second thought, I was willing to give him one more chance, but with just one sentence, he showed his true colors as a total jerk. So, I chose to stand by and watch Xiao Jun undergo the amputation. Li Haochen was still wearing that same indifferent, couldn't care less expression. I gave him the room number, but he told me to come down and get him. You're so slow, get a move on. Listen, I'm just taking a quick look, don't expect me to pay a cent. I walked ahead and pressed the elevator button, completely ignoring his snide remarks. Let's see if he can stay this calm when he sees his legless mother. Li Haochen walked into the doorway of the hospital room just as the doctor was making rounds. Family of patient in bed 4. Xiao Juan's amputated limb is healing very well. However, she may experience phantom limb pain in the future, so you'll need to pay close attention to her emotional state. The attending physician kept his head down, jotting notes in his chart. Li Haochen thought he must have misheard. In disbelief, he dug a finger in his ear. Who are you talking about? Xiao, is there a problem? Like a cat with its tail stepped on, Li Haochen shot up and bolted into The hospital room. Mom, what's wrong? Mom, say something. I just shrugged helplessly at the doctor. See, you don't know how much it hurts until you're the one getting slapped in the face. I strolled leisurely into the hospital room. Li Haochen grabbed Xiao Jun's shoulders and shook him violently. Haochen, be gentle. Mom just had surgery, and they just took her off the pain pump today. Hearing my voice, Li Haochen snapped out of it. His grim face pressed close, a flash of crimson passed through his eyes. Why didn't you tell me? I stared at him with wide, innocent doe eyes. I did call you, but you said, who do you think you are? Asking me for money before you're even married, and then you blocked me when I tried calling again. Li Haochen was dumbfounded. It was only then that he remembered. Yeah, that did happen. Well, I thought your mom had been in a car accident. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. You sure know how to draw the line. I called you the moment I found out mom was in a car accident. It's because you were too stingy to send the money that she had to have her leg amputated. Her being disabled is all your fault. The doctor said at the time that her leg could have been saved with a timely operation. Sobbing out of the corner of my eye, I saw Xiao Jun open her eyes, so I deliberately brought up her disability and Li Haochen's intentional refusal to transfer the money. Xiao Jun struggled to prop herself up when she saw the empty space where her lower body should have been. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Li Haochen wanted to lash out at me, but having been caught red-handed, he had no choice but to swallow his anger. That look on his face, like he'd just eaten shit, almost made me break character. He spent a fortune to transfer Xiao Jun to a private intensive care unit, but none of that could change the fact that Xiao Jun was a cripple. In the following days, I sat back and enjoyed the spectacle of Xiao Jun and Li Haochen's utterly deranged tug-of-war. Get out of my sight, you ungrateful wretch. I don't want to see you. Why didn't you send the money? Why didn't you come? I disown you. What? You were with Jiang Shishir instead. Did that little tramp stop you from coming? Even if she's some rich heiress, you are forbidden from seeing her again. It's her or me in this family. We can't both be here. Li Haochen knew in his heart that he had wronged Xiao Jun. He really did cut ties with Jiang Shishir. But his patience with Xiao Jun was also wearing thin. I tried to mediate between them. Mom, you only lost your legs, but Haochen lost his love. Xiao Jun stared with bloodshot eyes, as if she couldn't believe how such icy words could come from my 36-degree mouth. Li Haochen had been quiet and withdrawn ever since he started visiting. He had been numbed by Xiao Jun's constant scolding. Ever since Xiao Jun found out that her surgery was delayed because Li Haochen failed to transfer the money, he never once gave Li Haochen a friendly look. She was no longer the doting mother who thought her son was so impressive for having women on both arms. Now that Li Haochen is here, I can finally go back to my own home with peace of mind. They always assumed that after our father died, our family lost its source of income. That's why they treated me with such disregard. I blame myself for being so oblivious. I completely missed all those overt and veiled sarcastic remarks and looks of contempt. I ran back to the villa, my arms laden with bags of snacks, and Jiang saw me and broke into a wide smile. Ms. Ling, you've finally decided to come home. Mr. Chiu has been talking about you non-stop. She took the things from my hands and walked cheerfully toward the kitchen. I, on the other hand, tiptoed my way into the living room. At that moment, Mom was looking at her phone with her glasses on, her eyes constantly darting toward the door. Mommy, I've missed you so much. I plopped down on the sofa, wrapped my arms around Mom's, and started rocking back and forth. Mom's frosty expression gradually softened. Didn't you say you'd never come back to this cold, unwelcoming house? Didn't you say Li Haochen's mother treats you like her own daughter? Sigh. Those two sentences Mom mentioned were exactly what I had shouted in a fit of rage back then. Mom, I was wrong. Li Haochen is a complete scumbag. It's bad enough that he was seeing someone else, but even after I told Mom what had happened at the hospital, she fell silent, her brow furrowed. It was a long while before she finally spoke slowly. It's not too late to see him for who he really is. He doesn't know the truth about our family, so he can't be bothered to keep up the act in front of you. Mom was right. If Li Haochen and Xiao Jun knew our family hadn't gone bankrupt, and that my mother is actually the one steering the company, they would have kept lying to me. I never would have had a chance to see their true colors. When are you planning to call off the engagement with Li Haochen? Do you need me to step in? Come work at my company. The branding department is short-staffed. I stuffed a handful of popcorn into my mouth and mumbled, don't worry, slinking off with my tail between my legs isn't my style. They've pushed me this far, and I'm going to make sure they pay dearly for it. Then, Mom went to the study and brought out a stack of folders. These are the new hires starting next month. I've personally sponsored 10 of them long-term, and they're all excellent. Some have even studied abroad. I've selected a few to join the branding department, which you'll be overseeing. Take a look. I casually flipped through the folders. My eyes finally settled on one particular resume: a self-made student, a returnee from overseas, and highly educated to boot. Jiang Shishir. I clutched the resume, my thumb practically wearing a hole through the paper. What's so special about her? I remember this girl. She's from a remote mountain village. It's a miracle she even made it out. Mom, that's the woman Li Haochen is seeing on the side. Mom immediately sat up straight, scrutinizing the resume carefully. With such an impressive background and an Ivy League degree, it was hard to connect her with the idea of a mistress. Humph, we wouldn't dare hire someone like that at our company. As she spoke, Mom was about to throw the resume into the trash. I quickly grabbed her hand to stop her. Mom, let her join the company. It'll make things more interesting later on. Mom didn't quite understand why, but she followed my suggestion. The next day, I used my mother's connections to find a private detective agency in M country. I hired them to investigate everything Jiang Shishir did during her time studying abroad. According to my mother, Jiang Shishir started receiving financial support in high school. She told my mother that she was an orphan, abandoned by her relatives, and that her situation was truly pitiful. But I distinctly heard her say, Mom and Dad on the phone, and from what Xia Jun said, it sounds like this Jiang Shishir is a rich kid, too. Could it be they've all been fooled by Jiang Shishir? Thinking this, I decided to go all the way. I hired one of the country's top private investigators and paid a hefty upfront fee, have them locate Jiang Shishir's family in the country and investigate her background. I had only been home for 3 days. Li Haochen called to urge me to come back. Ling Yu, what are you doing staying at home for so long? Come back right now. Mom needs someone to look after her. Isn't there a nurse for that? No shit, Sherlock, you think a nurse gives a damn? Get back here today. I'm exhausted, and you have the nerve to just go home. My phone was on speaker. When Mom heard Li Haochen's foul language, a cold glint flashed in her eyes. I shook my head at Mom, signaling for her not to get angry. Okay, I'll be home soon. Before heading back, I settled on a plan with Mom. Li Haochen's family runs a tutoring business, so they're fairly well off in Mom's eyes. Their business is nothing to write home about, so I had her slowly dismantle Xia Jun's training institution. I made them pin all their hopes on Jiang Shishir. I returned to Li Haochen's home, where Xia Jun sat in a wheelchair, glaring at me with a venomous look. So you decided to come back? After the mess I'm in, you still went running off. Are you even human? My leg hurts. My leg hurts. Go get me some painkillers, now. Bastards, you're all a bunch of bastards. I need to use the toilet. Where is everyone? Someone help me to the toilet. Is anyone even listening to me? Do you all think I'm useless? You think I can't deal with you anymore? I've got plenty of money, so what if my leg's broken? I'll get a prosthetic and be just like anyone else. You all look down on me, don't you? You're all worthless. Now I understand why Li Haochen was so desperate to get me back. Xia Jun has completely lost it these days. She'll even curse at a random dog passing by, and ever since her incident, the training institution has been left leaderless, and a few investors have started causing trouble. Some even began to seize this opportunity to undermine her authority, and Li Haochen was utterly useless. Having spent all these years on nothing but pleasure-seeking, he didn't even know which way the door to his own family's training center opened. But this was only the beginning. Mom opened a tutoring center right across from Xia Jun's shop, and her prices were even lower. After all, Mom had deep pockets. A little loss was nothing to her, but for Xia Jun, this was his only source of income. If he lost it, he'd have nothing. Right at that moment, I deftly steered the conversation toward my upcoming marriage to Li Haochen. Mom, I want to postpone the wedding with Li Haochen. Things are a bit tight at home right now. I think we should wait until we're more settled before getting married. What do you think? Xia Jun shot me a glare, then pointed a finger at Li Haochen's nose and started yelling, "You're utterly useless with the company. All you do is ask for money, day in and day out. Even a dog I raised would at least bark for me. You good for nothing." Li Haochen hung his head in silence. She took a few breaths, and the rise and fall of her chest gradually steadied. Ling Yu is right. Let's postpone the wedding. Seizing the opportunity, I mentioned in passing that I had found a job in the past. Xia Jun would never have agreed to let me work. She believed that since I was engaged to Li Haochen, I should just stay home, be a proper housewife, and focus on my husband and future children. But given the current situation at home, having one less person around to get on her nerves is actually quite a relief. I started working at my mother's company. Only a few of the old-timers know who I really am. To everyone else, I'm just a regular brand department manager. On my third day, the new hires my mother arranged all started reporting for duty. I finally met Jiang Shishir at the company. Everyone goes by an alias. The name on my employee badge is Ling Ling Jiang Shishir, and a few other new hires came to report in, so I asked them all to introduce themselves. Manager Ling: hello, my name is Jiang Shishir. I'm the new designer in the branding department, and I graduated from Columbia University in the U.S. Oh, by the way, I'm quite close with Director Chiu. In fact, she's the one who personally invited me here this time. Well, giving me a show of force right off the bat. Are we? If this were some junior manager with no backing, they'd probably be completely intimidated by her, I said with a smile. What a coincidence. I was also personally invited by Director Chiu. To be precise, everyone here was invited by Director Chiu. The brand department is the company's core division, and all final interviews are conducted by him, so there's no need to be modest. You can all honestly say you were Director Chiu's pick. With that single remark, I turned the tables on a difficult situation and won over my new colleagues. Jiang Shishir's expression froze, leaving her with nothing but an awkward smile. But Jiang Shishir really is different from the rest of us. I had my mother arrange for Jiang Shishir to work part-time as an executive administrative assistant to the CEO, giving her more opportunities to get close to mom. Every day this week since she joined the company, she's worn a different outfit. Chanel one day, Dior the next, and her Cartier jewelry changes daily too. In her own words, the biggest headache every morning was deciding what to wear and which jewelry to put on. The office was mostly filled with recent graduates, and they had nothing but contempt for people who flaunted their wealth. A bunch of people gossiped about her behind her back every day. Not only that, they even dragged me into their little gossip group about Jiang Shishir. Thanks to Jiang Shishir, I was finally able to truly bond with the rest of the department. On the weekend, Li Haochen took me to a friend's gathering. I happened to have a cold, so I wore a mask to avoid spreading it to others. We drove to the entrance of the club. We had just gotten out of the car and closed the doors. A flash of bright blue streaked past us, and the car came to a stop in the parking lot by the entrance. Li Haochen's eyes lit up the moment he got a clear look at the car, a Porsche 911, Li Haochen's dream car. It's just that Xia Qiujuan had never been willing to buy it for him, but when he saw who stepped out of the driver's seat, his gaze grew even more intense. Jiang Shishir, dressed in chic Chanel-style attire and carrying a Hermes bag, stepped out of the car with effortless grace. She walked unhurriedly up to Li Haochen and cast a casual glance in my direction. I quickly lowered my head, afraid she might recognize me. Oh, so this is the wife. Huh, you showed up dressed like that for an occasion like this. Aren't you embarrassed? Come to think of it, it's just a casual dinner with a few trust fund kids. Was there really a need to wear a ball gown? Sure. Is that your car? Li Haochen stared longingly at the 911, practically drooling. Jiang Shishir swept her hair back with her hand, looking utterly smug. Yeah, my dad gave it to me. I told him I don't like blue, but he went and bought it for me anyway. So annoying, she pouted, looking genuinely put out. That really threw me for a loop. The reason this 911 cabriolet is blue is because I'm the one who loves blue. That's why mom got this car for me. After Jiang Shishir got out of the car, I took a close look at the license plate. Those familiar numbers were my birth date. She actually took my car out. Sure. Come on, let's get inside. Don't stand out here, you'll catch a chill. Li Haochen let go of my hand, took off his own jacket and draped it over Jiang Shishir's shoulders, then helped her up the steps, not forgetting to look back. Jiang Shishir shot me a look, raising an eyebrow like a victorious gamecock. I thought today would just be watching a bunch of amateurs talk big and run their mouths. I never expected to run into Jiang Shishir. I took out my phone and called my mom. It turns out mom had given my car keys to Jiang Shishir today, so she could take it to the 4S dealership for maintenance. Mom, in about an hour, call Jiang Shishir and tell her to bring the car back. Just say you need to use it. Mom didn't ask why and agreed right away, so, while no one was around, I went to the hardware store and bought an all. When I got back, I went ahead and punctured all 4 tires. Jiang Shishir, good luck with that. Replacing a tire is still pretty pricey for someone with a monthly salary of 10,000 yuan. As I stepped into the private room, a group of young masters were puffing away on their cigarettes, each with a girl in their arms. Li Haochen was no exception. He was leaning against Jiang Shishir, handing her drinks, lighting her cigarettes, and feeding her fruit. The picture Of a devoted lapdog, I sat in an inconspicuous corner, waiting quietly. An hour later, Jiang Shishir's phone rang right on time. She moved away from Li Haochen to sit by herself and answered the call. Hello, Director Chiu. Oh, yes, I understand. Jiang Shishir covered her phone, terrified that someone might overhear the conversation. After putting the phone down, she hastily gathered her things into her bag, clearly getting ready to leave. Shishir, where are you off to in such a hurry, Jiang? Shishir put on her coat and was about to stand up when Li Haochen grabbed her arm and pulled her back down. Hey, what are you doing? I have to go. I've got something to take care of. The other young heirs joined in, egging her on. Shishir, you're leaving after just 1 hour. That's a bit disrespectful, don't you think? Finish this drink, and we'll let you go. Jiang Shishir couldn't argue any further. She had no choice but to pick up the wine glass from the table, tilt her head back and down it in one go. Satisfied. Now don't stop me. I've got something urgent to do. Li Haochen followed Jiang Shishir outside, and I slipped out after them. Shishir, let me give you a ride. I've never driven a 911 before. Let me get a feel for it, will you? Perhaps also wanting to show off to Li Haochen, she agreed without a second thought. I'm heading to Hengyang Group. Just drop me off at the entrance. Mr. Chiu, the CEO, wants to discuss some business with me. Your family still has dealings with Hengyang Group. That's really impressive. My mom has been wanting to meet Mr. Chiu for ages but never got the chance. You'll have to introduce us sometime. Absolutely, no problem at all. As they spoke, the two of them arrived at the parking lot. Li Haochen was the first to spot the completely flat tire. Shishir, look, it looks like someone slashed the tire. Only then did Jiang Shishir notice the car was sitting much lower than usual. Without a second thought for her appearance, she immediately crouched down. Damn it, which asshole slashed my tires? It's fine, they're just 4 tires. Replacing them won't cost much. Why don't you let Director Chiu know and see her tomorrow instead? Shrouded by the night, Li Haochen failed to notice the utterly expressive look on Jiang Shishir's face. She certainly wanted to ask Director Chiu if she could return tomorrow, but Mr. Chiu was very clear on the phone. He needs the car in an hour. But this car just had its service, and now all 4 tires have been slashed. If Mr. Chiu investigates this and finds out she took the car out without permission, she could lose her job. No, I have to leave right now. Call a tow truck. I'm going to the dealership to get the tires replaced. I hid behind a pillar at the clubhouse, watching Jiang Shishir and Li Haochen from a distance for new tires, and they're not even covered by the maintenance package. That's easily 30,000 down the drain. There goes 3 months of Jiang Shishir's salary. Sweet. Thinking about it, I feel like I could make this even sweeter, so I called 110. I reported a drunk driver, giving the police the car's make, route, and license plate number. This is the capital. The police won't go easy on you just because you drive a luxury car. After all, they pull over cars fancier than a 911 all the time. After seeing Jiang Shishir off, Li Haochen returned to the private room, lost in thought. He just couldn't muster any enthusiasm for the fun and games anymore. I knew it. After Jiang Shishir's little display of wealth, Li Haochen had his sights set on her again. Not long after, my phone rang. I stepped out of the room and found a quiet spot to answer the call. Hello, Manager Ling. It's Shishir. What's up? Well, I have a favor to ask. Could you possibly lend me 2,000 yuan? It's kind of urgent. I let out a snort of laughter, and the line went dead silent. You're asking me for money? A high society girl like you, reduced to borrowing from me, and only 2,000. Oh, I get it. You guys are playing truth or dare, aren't you? You picked dare. Now it makes sense. After a long pause, Jiang Shishir said in a flat, toneless voice, oh, right, Manager Ling, you're too sharp. Why would I be asking you for a loan? Ha 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 ha. Alright, never mind, I'll hang up now. I leaned against the wall, laughing hysterically. 2,000, isn't that exactly the fine for drunk driving? Ha 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 ha. Jiang Shishir, you think you can take me on? You're dead in the end. Mom told me that Jiang Shishir was nearly 2 hours late and looked absolutely disheveled when she finally showed up. She even asked for an advance on 3 months' salary, but the most infuriating part was when she finally drove over and found my mom. Mom said, oh dear, I just remembered I don't need this car after all. I forgot to tell you, just park it in the garage. Jiang Shishir's face turned pale, then flushed with anger. It was quite a sight. In the following days, Jiang Shishir became even more conspicuous in the office. My boyfriend is so boring, he only ever buys me Van Cleef and Arpels. I've told him I prefer Cartier, No one had any interest in engaging with that kind of humble brag, and so, the show became hers alone. Xiao Jun's business was going from bad to worse, with very little working capital left. In order to keep the business afloat, she began to tacitly allow Li Haochen to pursue Jiang Shishir. I installed cameras at home, keeping a close watch on their every move. Xiao Jun had it all figured out. The moment she heard Jiang Shishir came from a wealthy family, she told Li Haochen to cozy up to her. She even had him bring Jiang Shishir home, suggesting that their parents meet to discuss marriage. But Haochen is already engaged. Xiao Jun snapped impatiently. They're not married yet. It doesn't count. Besides, Haochen doesn't even like her. You're the one he truly loves. So, Jiang Shishir agreed with a show of reluctance. Both of them were secretly scheming for their own gain. Xiao Jun wanted to use Jiang Shishir's family to make a comeback. Meanwhile, Jiang Shishir was single-mindedly convinced she was marrying into a wealthy family. Just as I was watching from the sidelines, an email arrived from a private investigator in the US. It turned out Jiang Shishir wasn't attending school abroad at all. Instead, she had become a fallen woman, catering exclusively to wealthy Chinese men for their entertainment. Not only that, but Jiang Shishir was actually a somewhat well-known AV actress in that circle. The private investigator was extremely reliable and even sent me a package containing her videos. As they say, good things come in pairs. The very next day, the domestic private investigator also sent word Jiang Shishir, originally named Jiang Chuiying, not only has parents but also 2 younger brothers. The moment her parents heard the news about her, they immediately started packing to come find her. They want to track her down, bring her back, and marry her off to some old widower in the village to pocket a hefty bride price. I hired a private investigator to pay them off, so they'd follow my orders. It's not their turn to make an entrance yet. Over the weekend, Li Haochen sent me away, telling me to go home and visit my mother. He's not usually this nice. I was at home, eating the fruit platter the housekeeper had prepared, while staring at the surveillance feed on my phone. At noon, Jiang Shishir brought an older man and woman to Li Haochen's house. They introduced themselves as Jiang Shishir's parents, saying they had been living in the US and had returned specifically for their daughter's marriage prospects. They really do have that wealthy air about them, but I can't shake the feeling they look familiar. I thought about it for a long moment, then it hit me. No wonder they look familiar. They're the actors who play the CEO's parents in that popular short drama, The Overbearing CEO and His Little Wife. Jiang Shishir really went all out with the production. She's good. It's a shame the time for a reckoning hasn't come yet. Xiao thought she had backed the right horse. When I returned to their house, she immediately pulled me into the living room and told me the engagement was off. She told me to get out of the Li family. Well, I'd be absolutely thrilled. Officially moving back into my own place has made life so much more comfortable and free. At the company, with my not-so-subtle hints, the department quickly formed its own little clique. I kept Jiang Shishir at arm's length, though to be fair, she always preferred hanging around my mom anyway. Out of an 8-hour workday, I'm lucky if I spend 4 of them actually in the office. My mom entrusted Jiang Shishir with managing my villa. Even though I moved out of Li Haochen's place, I never took down the surveillance cameras. Jiang Shishir told them she owned a villa in Haohai Lanxian and mentioned wanting to host a birthday party there to celebrate her 23rd birthday. Haohai Lanxian, isn't that my villa? I pulled out Jiang Shishir's resume and saw her birthday was still 3 months away, so I deliberately withheld a quarter's worth of property management fees. Before you knew it, the day of Jiang Shishir's party had almost arrived. She returned to the office just before clocking off. She spoke as if she were a haughty princess addressing her subjects. Quiet down, everyone. It's my birthday this Thursday, and I'm throwing a party at my place. I expect everyone to dress to the nines. Her colleagues stared at her as if she'd lost her mind. The intern, Xiao Zhou, sidled up to me and whispered, "Boss, does she think the whole world revolves around her? Is she out of her mind?" Everyone gave awkward laughs and started scrambling for excuses to get out of it. That's when I stood up and said, "Great, we'll definitely be there. Just send the address to the group chat, and we'll be right on time." Jiang Shishir looked me up and down. "Just make sure you guys don't dress like a bunch of country bumpkins when the time comes. I don't want my friends laughing at me." After she left, my colleagues gathered around, unable to understand why I had agreed. I told them in a hushed, mysterious tone, "You're all in for a real show later." After work on Thursday evening, we changed into somewhat formal clothes and took a taxi to the location Jiang Shishir had sent us. Wow, what a huge mansion. It looks like Jiang Shishir really is from a wealthy family. Oh my gosh, look at this place, it's huge. I've never seen anything like it. Ugh. Comparing yourself to others is the worst. I always said Jiang Shishir wore knockoffs, but living in a mansion this big, she doesn't need to buy fakes. I just smiled and stayed quiet in response to my colleagues' exclamations. The main birthday party was on the first floor, which had a private garden out back. That's the dining area. Our group gathered in the garden to eat and drink. In the lobby on the first floor, dance music was playing, and Jiang Shishir flitted about like a social butterfly. Shortly after, she came out to the garden and, seeing the few of us wolfing down the desserts, her expression turned rather sour. What a bunch of uncouth louts, even the way they eat is so vulgar. Her colleagues, however, were quite thick-skinned and didn't seem to mind her sarcastic remarks. Shishir, is this your place? It's huge. Aren't you scared living here all by yourself? That question hit Jiang Shishir right where it hurt. She tossed her hair. My parents bought this villa for me, so of course it's my home. You're such country bumpkins. Do you think it's just me here? I have maids and a butler too. Alright, just eat. I only invited you here today to broaden your horizons. When you're full, you can see yourselves out. At that moment, through the floor-to-ceiling window, we saw several people in the main hall wheeling out a 6-tiered cake. Jiang Shishir turned and left immediately upon seeing it. Li Haochen was decked out in a sharp, custom-tailored white suit today, looking every bit the part. Seems he came thoroughly prepared. As the cake was wheeled in, Jiang Shishir offered a perfectly poised smile. Li Haochen straightened his tie and strode forward with purpose. Shishir, it's your 23rd birthday today, and I want to take this chance to do something I'll never regret. He pulled an exquisite jewelry box from his suit pocket. My colleague nudged my arm. Manager Ling, come on, let's go. Looks like her boyfriend is about to propose. Hearing that, I quickly followed behind them. Li Haochen got down on one knee, and at the same moment, romantic music started playing. Jiang Shishir played along perfectly, her eyes welling up as she covered her mouth with her small hand, looking utterly surprised and moved. Shishir, will you marry me? As soon as the words were spoken, the party guests burst into applause and began shouting, say yes, marry him, say yes. I chimed in with a couple of shouts myself. A scumbag and a bitch, a match made in heaven. Aren't they? Just as Jiang Shishir, her face flushed with shyness, was about to accept the ring, a man's voice suddenly came from outside the door. Who here is the homeowner? The sudden noise drew the attention of everyone in the room. Everyone turned to see several men in uniform standing at the entrance. They were security guards and property management staff from the villa complex. The man at the front was likely the property manager. He made his way through the crowd to the center. May I ask who the owner of the villa is? At that moment, everyone turned to look at Jiang Shishir. The manager understood immediately and went straight to Jiang Shishir. Hello, we're here to collect the property management fees. The statement shows you're a quarter behind. Will that be card or mobile payment? Jiang Shishir's face was ashen, her entire body rigid with tension. She said softly to the property manager, it's my birthday today, could I possibly come and pay tomorrow? The property manager furrowed his brow, looking as if he didn't understand what Jiang Shishir was saying. Didn't you send us a message asking us to collect it tonight? We even stayed late just to accommodate your schedule. Jiang Shishir was completely baffled, left with no choice. She had to put on a brave face and bluff her way through. How much is it in total? The property manager handed over the bill and said expressionlessly, you need to pay 3 months of property management fees, which comes to 28,000 yuan. How much? Jiang Shishir's shrill shriek echoed through the lobby. I was laughing so hard behind them, my whole body was shaking. That Porsche's tire cost her and her mom 3 months' salary in advance. Just when I thought I'd finally get some money this month, along comes a 28,000 yuan property management fee. Li Haochen watched Jiang Shishir with a suspicious look from the side. It's normal for villa property fees to be expensive. Even though the villa his family lives in isn't that big, the monthly fee is still 5,000 yuan. He couldn't understand what Jiang Shishir was shrieking about. The property manager held a card reader in one hand and a payment QR code in the other, his expression clearly saying, lady, hurry up and pay, I want to clock out and go home. Jiang Shishir's face turned pale, and fine beads of sweat broke out on her forehead. After a long moment, she turned her head and looked at Li Haochen with a pleading expression. Haochen, could you cover this for me first? My parents haven't sent this month's allowance yet. What, you don't even have 28,000? Li Haochen completely missed Jiang Shishir's hint and blurted it out loud. His words caused an uproar, and everyone present started whispering among themselves. I knew it, this villa didn't seem like hers. I just asked her how many rooms there are, and she couldn't even give me a straight answer. Exactly, for someone who's supposed to be a rich kid, she can't even cover the property fees. You don't think she just rented this place to put on airs, do you? They weren't exactly keeping their voices down. Every word felt like a slap across Jiang Shishir's face. Her face flushed crimson, but she had no choice but to beg Li Haochen for help. She then leaned close to Li Haochen's ear and whispered something. Li Haochen immediately pulled out his phone and paid the property fee for her. Jiang Shishir finally snapped out of her daze, and the tension gradually eased from her features. But then, the property manager's words sent her spirits plummeting once more. Ms. Ling Shuang, it would be best if you paid your management fees on time from now on. It would save everyone a lot of trouble. Ling Shuang. Everyone was completely baffled. Who is Ling Shuang? Li Haochen asked point blank. Who is Ling Shuang? The manager said irritably. The owner of this villa. That's who, Ling Shuang. With that, the property manager turned and left with his people. Jiang Shishir was truly at a loss for words. She thought she had managed to smooth things over, only for the property manager to deliver a final blow just as he was leaving. Everyone present was perceptive enough to read the room, sensing the awkward turn of events. They all found various excuses to slip away. I thought after this incident, Li Haochen would break up with Jiang Shishir, but who would have guessed that Jiang Shishir had a silver tongue? She rushed over to Li Haochen's place and video called her actor father right in front of him and Xiaqiu Jun. With just a few words, she somehow managed to smooth the whole thing over. Unbelievably, the two of them even sent out wedding invitations to everyone they knew. Not long after Jiang Shishir's birthday. Looks like it's time to bring out my secret weapon. Of course, Jiang Shishir didn't forget to invite us colleagues to her wedding. When I took the team out for dinner on Friday, they brought it up again. Ever since that birthday party, Jiang Shishir hasn't been able to look us in the eye. It's obvious, isn't it? She must have rented that villa, and the property management just happened to come by to collect the fee. Ha ha ha, I'm cringing on her behalf. I stood by, listening with a smile on my face. My mother bought me that villa a long time ago. I hadn't changed my name yet back then, so the property manager always thought the owner was Ling Shuang. Manager Ling, are you going to Jiang Shishir's wedding? I nodded. Of course I'm going. Who knows, there might be another spectacular scene. Hearing that I was going, everyone else decided to tag along for the show. After all, they think my words have a strange power. If I say Jiang Shishir is headed for trouble, trouble is exactly what she gets. Without Jiang Shishir's knowledge, I had already arranged for her biological parents to come to the capital. Not only that, I even set up a live stream room for them to search for their biological daughter online. After they posted the video, I spent money to boost its visibility. This caused a huge stir across the entire internet, with everyone looking for Jiang Chuiying. However, Jiang Shishir was completely absorbed in the joy of her wedding and hadn't noticed the trending online searches at all. I got home from work and told my mom about my plan to get back at that scumbag and the other woman, but she just said she had acquired Xiaqiu Jun's training institution. Oh, okay then. Compared to my mom, I'm still not quite on her level. Oh, right. When you think the time is right, I'll put you in charge there. Then you can deal with them however you see fit. That's my mom for you. She's amazing. Li Haochen and Jiang Shishir's wedding was held in the banquet hall of a 5-star hotel in the capital. It seems Xiaqiu Jun is really going all out to latch onto Jiang Shishir's coattails. Rumor has it that all of Jiang Shishir's dresses that day were custom-made, each costing 6 figures. I found a top-tier hacker and had them breach the wedding planning company's computer system. Everything is set and ready, just waiting for the wedding. Their wedding date is set for September 20th. It happened to be a weekend, and all the colleagues who had received Jiang Shishir's invitation gathered at the wedding venue. While I was signing in and handing over the gift money at the entrance, I ran into Li Haochen and Xiaqiu Jun. They were greeting guests at the main door. When Li Haochen saw me, a hint of disdain flickered in his eyes. Ling, you still can't get over me, huh? Coming to your ex's wedding, what's next? Are you planning to make a scene and object during the ceremony? Xiaqiu Jun sat in a wheelchair, where the once empty pant legs now faintly revealed the outline of limbs. It seemed she had been fitted with prosthetics. She curled her lip, her words dripping with sarcasm from the start. Our Haochen isn't someone just any Tom, Dick, or Harry can fancy. Shishir's family are big shots in American finance, quite famous on Wall Street, not like some people whose families are just getting shabbier and poorer. I tilted my head in confusion. Weren't they the ones whose family was getting shabbier and poorer? Whatever, let them have their moment of glee. I walked past them with a blank expression. Heading into the banquet hall, Li Haochen grabbed me by the arm and snarled, I know you're in love with me, but it's no use. I'm just too exceptional for someone like you. I'm warning you, don't cause any trouble at the wedding, or you'll regret it. Me, where does he get the nerve? I pulled my arm free and scanned the banquet hall for a familiar colleague. The wedding began right on schedule. I glanced at my watch. Yep, just about time. The ceremony followed a traditional format, with the father giving the bride away to the groom. Then, the MC shared the couple's love story with the guests, followed by a heartwarming video montage. Jiang Shishir had once again paid for those two elderly extras. The moment they sat down, they looked the part perfectly. Both Li Haochen and Jiang Shishir were standing on the stage with exquisite makeup. Jiang Shishir wore a happy and joyful smile on her face. The host stepped forward. The camera binds moments into a keepsake. Today, the couple's sincere love will be shared with everyone through a VCR. With a dashing wave of his hand, the host signaled to the staff below, who acknowledged the cue. The large screen went black in an instant, and then the video began to play. Jiang Shishir was about to turn and watch the testament to her love with Li Haochen. Just the next moment, her face turned ashen. The entire banquet hall erupted like a boiling pot, filled with all sorts of sharp, piercing shrieks, because on the screen at that moment, an M-rated adult film was playing. A man and a woman were locked in a fierce battle. The camera zoomed in on the female lead. Holy cow, isn't that Jiang Shishir? Everyone was stunned. The wedding had turned into a public screening. I sat with my legs crossed, intently watching the screen. This is the only one I picked out that actually plays. I didn't dare let the hacker play the ones with the toys. Xiaoqiu was visibly panicked, trying to stand up from her wheelchair. The moment he tried to stand up, he collapsed back onto the floor. Turn it off, for fuck's sake, shut it down. Those words snapped Jiang Shishir out of her daze. She screamed frantically toward the workstation. Turn the video off, now. The staff wanted to shut it down, but the computer wasn't responding. Finally, Jiang Shishir rushed to the workstation and frantically yanked out all the power cords, but the show went on, unabated. Across the giant screen, Li Haochen, on the other hand, was remarkably calm, or maybe he was just stunned. He stood there on the stage, frozen, still clutching the ring in his hand. But was that really the end of it? Of course not. Just then, the banquet hall doors were flung open. A rather dowdy old couple shuffled in unsteadily. They were followed by a dozen or so internet influencers, brandishing their phones and cameras. Jiang Chuiying, Mom and Dad have finally found you. Oh, my daughter, they rushed straight towards today's heroine, Jiang Shishir. They grabbed her in a tight embrace. Get away from me, I don't know you. Get lost, Chuiying. You've been gone for so many years. Your father and I have been searching for you, and it's been pure agony. As he spoke, 2 streams of hot tears rolled down his cheeks. If I didn't know this couple were the textbook definition of son-preferring, daughter-draining vampire parents, I probably would have been moved to tears by their performance. Right about now, even Li Haochen, slow as he was, had finally caught on. He rushed off the stage, went straight to the parents Jiang Shishir had invited, and demanded loudly, "Who are you, and who are they?" The man spread his hands, his expression awkward, and said, "We're actors hired by Miss Jiang, $300 a day, so, if we're not needed here, we'll be on our way." With that, the 2 extras scurried off, putting the whole messy scene behind them. Some colleagues raised their phones to snap pictures for the memory, while others huddled together, quietly soaking in the drama. I picked up my glass and took a sip of champagne. Yes, the adult film was still playing on the screen. Xiaoqiu Jun writhed on the ground like a worm, frantically slapping the floor. Li Haochen slapped Jiang Shishir across the face. "Fuck you, you bitch, you're fucking playing me, damn it." He kicked Jiang Shishir right in the chest. He turned, picked up Xiaoqiu Jun, placed her in the wheelchair, and slunk out of the banquet hall. The banquet hall had now turned into a live streamed family reunion spectacle. I was the one who arranged for all these influencers to come. On behalf of Jiang Shishir's parents, the search for long-lost relatives was already a trending topic, and everyone was eager to capture the emotional moment of the reunion, but no one expected to capture such a dramatic turn of events. The wedding ended on a sour note. The colleagues were left wanting more. However, someone snapped out of it, rushed to the main entrance to get their wedding gift money back, and ended up waiting in line for quite a while. After that, I never saw Jiang Shishir at the company again. Mom said she had already been fired. As for Jiang Shishir, she was taken away by her parents from the mountains. She was already socially dead. If she didn't return to the mountains, she'd face endless online harassment. Later, a private investigator told me that Jiang Shishir was indeed married off by her parents to an old widower, but that old widower was an abusive man. After Jiang Shishir Was married off. She was beaten every day. The few times she tried to run away, she was caught and brought back. The old widower even shackled her ankles and locked her inside the shack. After all of this had settled into a grim quiet, I went to take over Xia Qiujuan's training institution. When I entered the conference room, she was sitting off to the side. You, what are you doing here? Get out. I don't want to see you. I raised an eyebrow and took the seat at the head of the table. Mr. Ling. Everyone is here. The secretary stood beside me and spoke in a low voice. Xia Qiujuan was flustered. Only at this moment did she finally realize I wasn't here to cause trouble. Xiaoming early childhood training has been acquired by the Hengyan Group. I'm here to take over the management of this institution. You can call me Director Ling. And one more thing, to save you the trouble of speculating about my background. The chairwoman of the Hengyan Group, Madame Qiu, is my mother. Alright, the first order of business today is to fire Xia Qiujun, effective immediately. Pack your things and get out. If you ask me, you should gouge your own eyes out. You had a real treasure right in front of you and didn't know how to appreciate her, choosing instead to chase after that fake. How's that for a reality check? Xia Qiujun stared at me with a death glare, breathing heavily in ragged gasps. His finger trembled as he pointed at me, too furious to utter a single word. Then her face turned ashen, and she collapsed to the ground. After the ambulance took her away, I stayed to delegate all the work before leaving. Later, I heard from the old-timers at the training institution Xia Qiujun had suffered a stroke. This time, he was completely paralyzed, his face contorted, his eyes askew, utterly incapable of caring for himself. And after Li Haochen learned of my true identity, he repeatedly showed up at the company entrance, kneeling on the ground, begging to get back together. In the end, the security guards threw him out. The business had left him deep in debt, and that lavish wedding had drained the family's last remaining savings. With no other choice, Li Haochen was forced to sell the family villa to pay off the debts. A long time passed. I happened to be walking across an overpass in the bustling city center. An elderly, legless woman sat by the roadside, drool trickling from her mouth as she clutched a grimy bowl. Beside her sat a disheveled young man, his eyes vacant and fixed on the ground. I dropped a few coins into the bowl, and he gave a dull, mechanical nod. Thank you, kind soul. I lifted my head and strode down the overpass. Sighed. The weather is perfect today, just right for a shopping spree. Let's go buy a bag. The end.